Dr. John Campbell is lately examining or already. So we can see how things move. It's very fast, highly fast. Um, Dr. John Campbell is already at the point of examining the history of COVID-19. So we got to the point of examining uh, the historical notes about COVID-19, how it started, how it developed, what happened in the incipient stages, and so on and so forth. And well, I think it's good. It's good we've put this bad illness behind us. And well, I think that what Dr. Campbell is asking is whether or not what is the connection between Freemasonry and COVID-19, and what is the conspiracy theory behind this? Well, I don't want to just to put things in perspective. I don't want to be seen as a conspiracy theorist. I am a serious academic. Okay, when I say something, I justify it. I don't offer scenarios. When I say that a story is a scenario, well, I mean that I don't mean that as the story in question being a fiction. Okay, I'm not prone to making fictitious remarks, um, and I don't wish to be seen or viewed as a conspiracy theorist. What I'm saying is real. What I'm saying is non-fictional. Now, let me propose to you a case study. I mean, um, I think it's weird because I rarely comment on Dr. Campbell's channel, and there exist reasons. Okay, there exist reasons why I usually keep YouTube comments to myself. Okay, and those reasons may be that, well, those reasons are that YouTube may comment on my behalf, or my comments will not be read. My comments may be hidden by a weird system of permissions that YouTube may choose or to deploy or not. But so even though I'm not commenting on Dr. Campbell's channel, I do have a lot of comments. So I'm going to talk to you tonight about um, the AIDS pandemic. Okay, I have studied this. I have, when I was a graduate student in mathematics in Wellington, 12 years ago, I guess. 12 years ago, yes. Um, I was fascinated by viruses and epidemiology, and I was studying. From what I could find out, I was fascinated by AIDS, AIDS, HIV, for various reasons. Some of them being the very weird, very strange, highly weird and highly strange viciousness, I guess, of this particular virus, and the way this particular virus acts on the immune system on the human immune system. Now, of course, so I'm not qualified to talk about COVID-19. I was back in 2020, 2021. I was in fact, advising people against um, deployment of vaccines. I guess I realized pretty quickly that COVID 19 was a fictitious illness. So then the logical implication is why people? Why deploy a vaccine for a fictitious illness? Okay. Um, a fictitious illness does not require a vaccine. So yeah, these were my observations, and I've made a few segments on YouTube. I even made a song or two, warning that big pharma are in fact going to poison people with these vaccines. Yet, okay, so let's get back to AIDS. So the point in time. So how did AIDS start? I guess AIDS is a 20th century phenomenon. I think. That in itself is weird. Okay, so what is AIDS, people? I mean, people can ask, what is polio? Why do we need vaccines for polio? Why do we need vaccines in general? Didn't you know that vaccines? Are you familiar? Okay, it may be a conspiracy theory, but well, I don't think it is. I think this theory deserves proper examination. Were you familiar with the theory that the theory that vaccines on small children may cause autism in small children? Well, these type of theories, I think that they should not be dismissed that easily. Okay, so I have heard, I have personally heard that, okay, medical treatment on the pregnant mother or vaccines on the young infant may cause autism or other neurological dysfunctions later on the human's life. But okay, coming back to AIDS, AIDS is as young. I guess that's young. AIDS is as young as 1959. So AIDS is younger than my mother. Okay, my mother was born in 1955. The first AIDS case ever recorded was 1959. Okay, and so then came the idea that, okay, so where does this illness come from? Did did the aliens bring uh, AIDS, HIV from outer space? Did it land on planet Earth on a spaceship? Of course, I'm being sarcastic here. Right now, I am being sarcastic, but the issue at hand is serious. So, in 1959, um, a gentleman by the name of David Carr succumbed to pneumonia, and this is not unusual in AIDS. Um, I guess the infections that a person will die from are deemed to be opportunistic infections. Then there's two following cases: 1959 and 1960. A Congolese man and a Congolese woman. The HIV infection were discovered in preserved lymph nodes biopsy in the Belgian Congo. Um, Again, okay, so we paused for a while, and in 1966, another Congolese man dies of AIDS, and the genetic material present was analyzed and dated to 1966 from a sample of a 30 years old man. And in 1969, a 16-year-old African American, Robert Rayford, died at the St. Louis City Hospital from Kaposi's sarcoma. Okay, so Kaposi's sarcoma is highly prevalent in these types of opportunistic infections relating to AIDS. It basically manifests as a rash or a bunch of spots all over the body, and it is a type of cancer, and it is spread by the lymphatic system. Then we get the case of Arvid No, a sailor. And Arvid No, his wife, and his 7-year-old daughter died of AIDS in 1976. Then Grete Rask, a Danish surgeon, in 1977, traveled to Zaire in 1964 and in 1972 to aid the sick. I think this lady was a lesbian. If that brings relevance or not. I mean, homosexuality has been associated with AIDS in the past. I don't know what the connection is. A person, a person that suffers from this illness, this disease, will often be deemed as homosexual. And that may or may not necessarily be the case. And okay, this was 1977. Grete Rask, a Danish surgeon, and then in 80s, in early 80s, just as it started, just as similar to how COVID-19 burst out in 2019, and it got us all in a very, very deep state of panic. In the 1980s, early 1980s, mid 1980s, and 1990s and beyond, the whole world was in terrible, terrible panic due to this HIV/AIDS epidemic. Okay, and then we get theories like, basically, how did it all start? And we then the concept of patient zero is discovered, because, well, I guess through an analytical process within, when something new appears, on a given geographical area, well, logically speaking and analytically speaking, somebody must have brought the illness on that geographical area. It could not possibly have landed from outer space on the geographical area in question. And, well, in later times, researchers from the University of Oxford have deemed the patient zero hypothesis as inconsistent. Okay, so I guess Gaetan Dugas, a Canadian airline steward, referred to as patient zero, having been blamed in the past for bringing AIDS as a flight attendant and homosexual at the same time, having been blamed for bringing AIDS to North America. So patient zero relative to the continent of North America. Later on, researchers from the University of Oxford have discovered that the patient zero hypothesis is not logically consistent. The data just doesn't verify that hypothesis. So then we get questions like, what is AIDS? Okay, again, we can ask, or we can ask this about most illnesses and diseases. We can ask this about polio. I guess we can't ask about diabetes. That diabetes is verified, right, as a real condition. But okay, other viruses such as COVID-19. These particular types of illnesses could be deemed as poisonings. Could be due to poisoning or presence of foreign substances in a patient's system. So rather than calling COVID-19 or AIDS viruses, so rather than referring to COVID-19 and HIV as viruses and viral infections, maybe perhaps it would be more accurate to call them poisonings, I guess. And having studied, having compiled this small case study when I was a graduate student, and later on when I did study mathematical epidemiology at the University of Liverpool, I come to the conclusion that HIV/AIDS is due to medical treatment, and it's highly possible. I'm saying the evidence, in any case, the evidence that I have reached indicates that HIV/AIDS is actually administered to people using our taxpayer-funded medical infrastructure. Okay, so this is the conclusion that I have reached, and this is where evidence takes me. This is what evidence points out.